Math!
Hey everybody, this is Mr. Regner and this is the Aftermath. Today on the Aftermath we are focused on focus, and specifically today we're looking at week 28, day 2. So you can follow along with your week 28, day 2 activity as you watch the video to help you prepare for this week's focus quiz. So without further ado, let's get to it, starting with number 1. Number 1 says the temperature in a town has never been below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Let T represent the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Which inequality represents the temperature in the town? All right, so for number 1, I want to look at this, and there's probably some important information that I need to think about. First, the temperature has never been below 68 degrees. And then I have T as my variable representing the temperature. So if I think about this for a minute, I could maybe show some work here by creating a number line real quickly. And I know that 68 is the number they give me in my problem. So I can graph out here 67 and 69. Now it's never been below 68. So I know that it could be 69, but it can't be 67. So my arrow is definitely going to go to the right here. Now I know I'm going to have a circle here on 68, but I need to think about it. Am I going to have that circle be filled in or not? Now it's never been below 68, but it could have been 68. So if that's the case, I need to fill in my circle on 68. And so if I'm looking at this, I have my variable T on the left-hand side for all of my options. This sign right here is a greater than sign. That tip of the arrow is a greater than sign. And the fact that I have a filled in circle means that my sign is going to be greater than or equal to. So I'm going to have T as my temperature, and it's greater than or equal to 68. When I look at all of my options, I see that option right here with letter D. T is greater than or equal to 68. So number 1 is really a question that requires us to just read that question carefully and think about what it's saying. If it helps, and I'm sure it will, graph it out. Make sure that you're seeing clearly what that temperature could possibly be, and then select the correct inequality from there. Let's move on now to number 2. Now number 2 says a rectangle and one of its dimensions are shown. The perimeter of the rectangle is 46 inches. What is the value of x? So as I look at this, I want to keep in mind that perimeter is the measurement of the outside of my rectangle. So just that outside. And I like to trace that to remind myself of that fact. Now since it's a rectangle, I know the base here is 18, and so the opposite has to be 18 as well. And the side here, the height is x, so the other side has to be x as well. When I think about perimeter, I'm adding up all the sides that I have here. So I'm going to set up a equation to add up all my sides. So I have 18 plus 18 plus x, and it's all going to equal 46 inches because that's given to me right there in the problem. So now it's just a matter of combining like terms. I have 18 and 18. Those are both like terms because there's no variable part. And then I have x and I have x. Those are both like terms because they're both x. So 18 plus 18, if I do this step by step, all right, I'm going to get 36. Okay, I'm going to add that to x plus x. That's going to be 2x. All of that is going to equal 46. Now I'm really looking at a two-step equation that I'm going to solve and try to get x alone. So I'm going to start with the 36 and try to get that 36 out of there. It's 36 here, so to get rid of 36, I need to subtract 36. And I would do the same thing on both sides to keep this balanced and even. So the 36's cancel out. I'm left with 2x equals 46 minus 36, which is 10. So on this side, I have 2 times x, and I want to get x alone. So how do I get rid of that 2? Inverse operations. So I'm going to use my inverse operation here and divide by 2. That cancels each other out. I have just x, and over here I have 10 divided by 2, which I know is 5. Now I always want to think about the label here, and since these are 18 inches, then x is really going to equal 5 inches because I want to include that label. All right, so there we have it. Again, just keep in mind perimeter when we're thinking about perimeter, we're just adding up all the sides. Let's move on now to number 3. So for number 3, it says, what is the volume of the package shown below? And there we have it on my paper. The package is shown here. Looks like a box that came from UPS or FedEx or something like that. And so if I want to know the volume, I always want to think about volume, and I always think about the formula I use for volume. And volume equals length times width times height. So if I have this formula, then there is no stopping me, because now all I'm going to do is plug in my length, my width, and my height. And if I get confused on which one is which, it really doesn't matter as long as I'm multiplying all 3 together. So I'm just going to substitute now, and I'm going to put in 11 times 9 times 7, but obviously we could put in any order here. So I'm just going to take it one step at a time. 11 times 9 is 99. Oops, if I can write. So then 99 times 7. You know what is funny about this one is I don't know what 99 times 7 is. I could probably do some guessing, but it's always an option for us and a valuable resource to do some math off to the side. So let me do this. 99 times 7. So I have 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times 9, well, that's still 63, plus 3 is 69. So I get 693 inches cubed. And my label here is rather important. It's always inches cubed when I'm talking about volume. All right, so there we have it. Again, if you know your area, or not the area formula, the volume formula, volume equals length times width times height, then you are golden when it comes to number 3, because then you're just substituting and solving. Let's move on now to number 4. All right, so number 4 is our multiple answer question. It says, which fractions below are equivalent to 40%? So I'm always looking at 40%. And if I've done some work here to memorize some of these fractions, it makes my job a lot easier. So when I look at this, I'm going to look at A, B, C, D, and E and try to figure out the percentage of all of them. So 1/4, I've memorized this. So I know 1/4 is 1/4 or 25%. It's not 40%, so it can't be right. I know 1/5, since I've memorized it, is 20%. That's not 40%. That can't be right. Now 6/15 is kind of an interesting one because I'm looking at it and I see common factors between 6 and 15. That common factor is 3. So I could divide by 3 and divide by 3. Okay, 6 divided by 3 leaves me with 2. Okay, and then 15 divided by 3, that leaves me with 5. And I happen to know that 2/5 equals 40%. And that would make sense if I knew 1/5 was 20%, because 2/5 is just double that at 40%. So I know then C is going to be one of my answers. Letter D, hopefully this stands out loud and clear as being pretty easy. Any number over 100 is going to be the percent of that number. So 100 is like our whole, and 40 is going to be our part, and that part is going to be our percent. So 40 over 100 equals 40%, which is one of our answer options. And finally, we come to letter E. That's 2/5. Again, if I know 1/5 is 20%, then 2/5 is double that, and that would equal 40%. So there you have it on our focus for this week. Really, I feel like numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all questions that are going to be, hopefully, pretty easy for you to answer. Still, no excuse for not studying, so make sure you're preparing for this week's focus quiz by looking over your activities for day 1, day 2, day 3. Make sure you're studying, make sure you're preparing, and you will do just fine on this week's focus quiz. I'm Mr. Regner. This has been The Aftermath. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Math, aftermath, it's the aftermath. Aftermath, it's the aftermath. Math class is fun, but when it's done, stay in the zone. On your own, it's math review, made just for you. Take a video wherever you go. Aftermath, it's the aftermath. Aftermath, it's the aftermath. Oh yeah.